from the committee, rather. And so that will take us first to Councillor Perks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And I do want to thank the staff for doing this. This is work in an area where we have very little understanding, and I know it's been a really onerous task, and they put a lot of thought into it. My concern with this report is not so much that that work has been done, but rather how we talk about this work and what meaning we take from the report that's in front of us. A moment ago, the Deputy Mayor Min Wong was asking what's the value of people not getting stuck in rush hour traffic, and we've got this claim here that it's $2.3 billion. So clearly, if we spend money, we save money because people aren't stuck in traffic, right? That actually, no, is not true. If that were true, every time we put a bus on the street, every time we bought a TTC bus, the City of Toronto would show a profit, right? Because we're saving all this money in our economy, and because people are getting to work faster. There's a difference between actual money that we spend and notional money that we use to try to value costs to our economy and risks. And there's a problem in the way we talk about this triple P stuff and about this accelerated construction stuff, where we equate notional money with actual money that we spend. And you heard it in one of the questions from a member of Executive Committee saying, oh, if we do this, we have more room on our capital program. No, we don't have more room in our capital program if we do this. We have less room in our capital program if we do this. We spend more actual dollars to reduce the risk of the project being late. You're paying lateness insurance when you do it this way. And yes, the company that does the construction will have to eat the cost if the project is late, because we don't pay them until it's done. They have to eat that extra cost. But they know they're going to have to eat that extra cost, so they charge us more. Just as an insurance company charges you for insurance. No one pays you to have an insurance policy. You pay them. So be clear what we're voting on here. We're voting on a proposal to increase the cost of doing this work in order to get it done faster and in order to have someone else carry some financial burden if the project is late. That's what you're getting. You're not saving money, you're spending more. Now, I do want to say the federal government is absolutely brilliant. I know that they're ideologically committed to the idea that the private sector is faster and cheaper than the public sector, and they've managed to set up a program where we have to give them a piece of paper saying we agree triple Ps are faster and cheaper in order to get their funding. It's genius. I wish I were that sneaky in my politics. Now, the other thing that we need to keep our eye on with this as we go forward is we have a federal election pending. In 1 month, this might not be the federal government's policy. So I would like you to spend a little bit of time thinking before this gets to council. Do you want to spend extra money, which is what we are doing, based on a project that might not even exist? I
haven't got any other speakers. I'd like to say a word, but I'm happy to defer to anyone else. Okay, well, I should resist probably engaging at all with Councillor Perks on these things, but I can't help myself. Well, but it's only because I remember an exchange I had in one of my early council meetings with the councillor. Oh, hang on, I'll start the clock here, so I'm limiting myself properly. And I remember he saying to me, did he step out again? He just came back in. Oh, there he is. Okay. And he said, you know, foreign investment doesn't really matter. We don't need to worry about that. Don't trouble your pretty little head with foreign investment, Mr. Mayor. It's not a problem. And I said to him after, I went and had a conversation and said, well, he didn't say pretty, you're right. That's true. But I said, surely you don't actually believe that. And he told me he did. And I thought, well, all the jobs that depend on foreign investment, but the same is true here. Yes, Councillor. I mean, the price, you used the expression this morning in talking to our staff, the contract price went up from what it might have been if we'd done it ourselves. But you forget the fact that the contract price has gone up, and then it's gone up again, and then it's gone up again, and it's gone up again with the contracts we did do ourselves by a different model. And as someone said a moment ago, that system is broken. It has cost us hundreds of millions of dollars on all projects too numerous to name. But I mean, we've got Union Station, we've got the York University subway, we've got the Nathan Phillips Square revitalization and so on. And all we do there is we keep taking the price up every time it changes, and there is no guarantee that it ever reaches sort of the maximum, and the projects are finished years late. And so you use the expression insurance. What if we'd had insurance of some kind or other on all those projects, where we would have had a project that we knew the price of on behalf of the citizens of Toronto who pay their taxes, and we would have actually got them done on time? But the part that I really wanted to engage on was just on your notion that somehow the savings in the economy aren't real. The savings because they don't come back to us, and because we don't get the money back from those savings, that they're not real. Well, let's start with the time. If we could value the time, and all the attempts are made to value the time at, I think the staff said $100 an hour or some such thing, but there have been many different measurements made, and the bottom line is, I don't treat the time and the productivity of the people of Toronto and of their businesses they are involved in, either as employees or business owners, as being worth nothing. And when that time is saved, when that productivity is enhanced, when people are able to go and do more business because they don't waste the 45 minutes a day, that has a real return to our economy. That actually helps to create the wealth that finances the public services that you talk about all the time and that you want us to pay for. And I'm happy to join you in paying for that. But I say that starts and ends with people in the private sector, individual employees, entrepreneurs, and just plain people who also want to go home with their families. And so this, to me, is just a more realistic way to do business, where, yes, the price is a real price, because somebody's going to be accountable for it at the end of the day. They won't be able to change it. They will pay a penalty. The timetable is a real timetable, because they won't be able to just change it arbitrarily as we can do at City Council, and people forget by the time of the next election we change the price over and over and change the timetable over and over again. And there's a price to be paid for that. Councillor Bylaw's example was good about a mortgage. So too is the example of saying, well, you could have 3 fires in your house and you could pay for it all yourself to keep rebuilding and rebuilding your house, or you could have insurance. And that involves an upfront cost, and it's a cost that is more than if you didn't buy it, but you've got insurance. And so what we're moving to here is a realistic, disciplined, accountable from day one kind of arrangement where, and I think the whole thing has 3 advantages, all of which have been spoken about, and in urging my colleagues to vote for this, to send this on to Council, I'll just name them again. One is risk management, which I have been speaking about largely. That's what we're talking about here, is shifting that risk over to some people who are prepared to take it on. And yes, there's a charge for that, but there's also a huge benefit to the economy and a huge benefit to us in terms of ending this cycle of ever increasing prices and ever extended timetables. The second is, and it's huge, as somebody said, I think it was Councillor DeGiorgio, Councillor Menon Wong, Deputy Mayor Menon Wong referred to it, to get this thing done 6 years sooner. I think if we had the people down here and they got to put their hands up for this, they'd be putting their hands up right away and saying, if it gets done 6 years sooner and we don't have to sit in those traffic jams and we can be home to our families and we can be doing our work more productively, they would say, go ahead and do this. And then finally, this is a matter of the federal money. I don't sneeze at $823 million of federal money that will be given. And to go back to Councillor Ainsley's question this morning, maybe that he was, sort of just wanting to be assured that it was going to be non-repayable. And he was given that reassurance, and that to me speaks volumes. Councillor Shiner referred to that as well. So this is something to me that we should get ahead with, get Infrastructure Ontario that has a successful, knowledgeable background with staff in place so they can get on with advising us on the procurement for the fees that are mentioned here, and then produce these benefits for the people of Toronto and have this thing done. 6 years, sooner than it was, have it done, it could be longer than more than 6 years, 14 from the original plan. And I just think and the benefits to the economy will be absolutely measurable and will come back to us in increased investment, increased wealth, increased jobs, and money that we'll have to pay for public services. So I hope people will support this, and does anybody else wish to speak? Okay, then I think we're ready for the question.